Welcome to Pivot Parenting, where we help parents of teens overcome regret and disappointment to find peace and connection in every situation. I'm Heather Frazier, your parenting expert. Journey with me to discover effective parenting tips, improve family relationships, and build a brighter future for your kids. Buckle up, things are about to get better. Hey, my friend, welcome to today's episode of Pivot Parenting. I'm excited that you're here, and I'm doing things a little bit differently. But before we get started, a couple things I want you to know. I'm taking episode topic requests. Email me at heather@heatherfrazier.com if there's topics that you would like addressed here on the podcast. Totally anonymous, totally helpful. Just shoot me an email and I've got your back. Another thing, I've got a couple openings as the new year starts. If you are looking for help with your teen, we can have things so tidied up that by the time summer hits, you're not going to recognize your relationship in the best of ways. So there's a few spots. I would love one of them to be yours. And the reason why I do what I do is because I love families and I know the pain of parenting when your child makes it very obvious they don't like you and you're doing a poor job. And I also know the pain of these sweet teenagers, several of which I have spoken to recently. So today's episode is a little bit different because it is going to be the conglomeration of several youth that I have spoken with about their experience with their parent. Now, I am not of the mindset that we should coddle our children, that they should never have struggle, and that it is our job to meet their needs and make sure that their world is happy. That is not entirely the approach. Yes, we should be doing that, and no, we should not be removing every obstacle and expecting ourselves to be perfect. And so before we dive in, I want to make a few things clear. Number one, I talked to boys and girls, and for the sake of smoothness, I am simply going to refer to this conglomeration of conversations as one individual, and it will be a daughter, because that makes my brain comfortable as far as trying to keep everybody's stories and voices straight. We're just going to assume it is this one voice of many experiences. So moving forward, I will speak as though it is a conversation with an individual, but in fact, it was several conversations over a space of time. Okay? Because that makes it easier for me to speak to you about it. And then the second thing that I really want to emphasize is I love you. And it is okay if you can relate to the parents in their most painful, shameful ways that they have expressed things to their children, because none of us are perfect. And so to have a lot of grace for you and for your child, this episode is not to make you feel ashamed or guilty. It is to help you see the perspective of your child, potentially, and how much they love you and want you in their life. I am a staunch believer that if a child is mentally healthy or striving to become so, and they cut a parent out, it is with very good reason. And so I do not want you to be cut out from your child's life. I'm here to support you, not judge you. I am here to show you how to love more fully and completely, not to correct or shame you for bad behavior. I want to make that really abundantly clear because I'm not perfect and I get things wrong. And I know that every single parent that has ever walked the earth has gotten things wrong. And it's not about striving to never offend or hurt your child. That's impossible. And if you're trying to do that to please them, we need to have a conversation. The goal is to love them our best to have a healthy enough relationship that when they say to me, Mom, this really hurt my feelings, or Mom, we keep having this same argument, like what can we do different? That I am humble enough to listen and to validate when they have hit the nail on the head with me. The thing that I have learned as a parent, the most liberating, connection forming thing that I can do is 100% agree when they have called me out on my misbehaviors and where I'm wrong, or to call myself out to them. Hey, that was wrong of me. I was wrong to assume that you were lying to me. I was wrong to assume that you were being lazy. I'm sorry that I'm doing an old pattern that I know is unhelpful, and I couldn't help myself. Please forgive me. Being wrong and imperfect and letting your child see that is the most humbling, beautiful, fastest way to heal relationships, to create connection, and to more fully love yourself and your child. I want to go about it as though it were one consistent conversation and walk you through the conversation. I've synthesized all of them into one script, and I will just call her daughter. Okay, so we have parent and daughter. There are several things that this daughter and her parents butt heads over. Dishes that she leaves out and shoes, the mess that she makes. When she's late and the clothing that she wears. Specifically, being modest enough. These things are all very triggering from past conversations or arguments. She has cried in the shower. She gets pounding headaches. She gets sick to her stomach and is triggered when certain things come to really intense conversations, even to the point of dry heaving, disassociation, not thinking right. Of course, this is not every single time. But certain things, especially ones where she feels very judged, like if she has a tank top on or if her shorts are too short, that she feels is an expression of herself, but her mother does not like. And they butt heads on this, and they always have, along with, again, cleanliness. She said that her mother only compliments her if she has clothing on that she likes and has her hair done how she likes it. When she goes to places where her mother is not in attendance, she is still extraordinarily and keenly aware of other people and what they might think. She asks people going to the same events if what she's wearing is acceptable, if people will say rude things to her because it has been so upsetting in the past. Now, one might easily tell this girl to simply conform, to simply don't wear things that get arguments going. That is definitely one way to do it. But do we all want to live in a society where we conform to the expectations of others so that we feel safe? And is this how we want to train and raise our children who cannot think for themselves or are told to not trust their own intuition, what they're comfortable with? Now, of course, we need to teach our children that it is respectful to put dishes away, especially if you're eating at a friend's house, to help clean up, to dress appropriate for the situation. You wouldn't wear a bikini to a wedding reception. And you wouldn't wear work clothes to prom. So being respectful and modest is not just about how much skin is showing, but if it's appropriate for the activity. And then letting our kids decide. Now, this is not going to be an episode about modesty. I have done several episodes on modesty, and if you're interested in that, you can search those up. I have a search bar on my website where you can put in modesty or clothing or purity culture. And you will get lots of hits on many a podcast to talk about modesty. I am simply looking at this as a bigger picture. This child feels like she cannot be herself. She does not feel accepted. She said she only accepts me when I don't feel like myself, holding back how I want to look, things I say, music that I want to listen to, who I am. And then she's judging her mom for being too much of a prude. She sees appearance as not black and white, whether that's piercings and tattoos, clothing choices, and she feels really judged. She gets the look up and down on her person by her mother, and it's really upsetting to her because parents, you are the number one person that your child wants to feel loved and accepted and safe with. And when you cannot provide that for them, it sets them up for a lot of issues and problems. They will find it elsewhere, whether that's in who they date, or a gang or cult or other community, or friends that you don't like. So it is our job to make sure, and again, this is not saying you should have to roll over and give your kid everything that they want. You don't have to pay for piercings. You don't have to get twin tattoos with them. But it is our job to unconditionally love them. So giving them the good old up and down so that they know you're silently judging them is not the way to help them in that situation or in any future situation. If you are monitoring what they wear, for example, picking the dance dress that they get or giving them, you can choose this one or this one, that may or may not be the best response. Because again, while teaching our children about modesty or cleanliness, these are important things. But we need to go about it with the bigger picture in mind. So let's say she struggled with hygiene. Shaming your child because you can smell their nasty, greasy hair across the car is not the best way to encourage them to wash their hair, unless you want to condition them to be shame-driven, to hate themselves, and to think that they have to earn love. We can teach our children about hygiene and modesty and being mindful of others in loving ways, which is sometimes biting our tongue and not saying anything. Sometimes it's saying, hey, I noticed that you haven't had time to wash your hair. Let's carve out a few extra minutes tonight so that you can do that, so that you're feeling your best tomorrow, because I know it's a big day for you. Or, hey, that is a really cute dress. Are you going to be comfortable dancing in that? Because I know that I would wear racy dresses and sometimes I would have to pull at them because I realized I was flashing everyone and I really didn't like that. So are you sure that you're going to be comfortable in that? And it's also embarrassing if you get dress coded by the school. Is that something you're willing to risk? And having more practical, matter-of-fact conversations with them so that they don't feel judged. And then this daughter went on to talk about other things. She said that her parent would tell their siblings about all this stuff, essentially trash-talking daughter behind her back. And then the aunties and uncles would say passive-aggressive things to her, which essentially would indicate that her mom was trash-talking her. This is extraordinarily shame-inducing and should never happen. And then, poor daughter, she just won't talk to her mom because of what's happened, and she doesn't want to hurt her mom's feelings. Your kids actually love you a lot, and not hurting your feelings is a really common reason that they lie or withhold from you. And it could be altruistic, and it could be, I don't want to hurt their feelings because then I'll pay for it. I'll get lectured later. I'll get told no when I ask for something. I will be punished and silenced. We never want parenting our child to be a power play, but often it is, especially when we're trying to manipulate them into behaving or being who we think they should be. So daughter just bides her time to moving out. And I hear this from parents all the time. I'm just biding my time till they're moving out. Your kid's doing the same. Your kid is doing the same. And she says, I've tried to talk about it in the past, but it never goes well. This is really important, my friend. It is hard for our child to say things about us, to critique us to our face, which is the best way to do it. They could also trash talk you to cousins, which also happens, or other aunties and uncles or grandparents. If they bring something to your face and say, Mom, that really hurt my feelings, or why did you do that? That was so embarrassing. They are mirroring to you something that takes a lot of humility to swallow. Now, most of the parents that I spoke to, they dismiss or get angry or defensive with daughter. That indicates that she's probably hit the nail on the head. Because if she were to say, why did you say I'm a pink elephant? You'd be like, what do you mean? I didn't say you were a pink elephant. Explain to me what you mean. I don't understand. I'm so confused. No defense, no upset, just curiosity and wondering what they mean and how you can better understand why they would say you were talking about pink elephants. But if she says, why were you trash talking me to your sisters, and you get all defensive, she got you. She called you out. And it is important to recognize that this is a wonderful opportunity for you to practice humility. For you to say, I was wrong. And like I stated in the beginning of the episode, this is the fastest, most predictable, and reliable way to build unconditional love, trust, and community with your child and with yourself. Because parents who cannot tolerate seeing their imperfections are typically pretty miserable. And when their kid points out their imperfections and they cannot tolerate looking at them, they're stuck. There is nowhere to grow and develop when you cannot admit where you got it wrong. And so you're just on the hamster wheel of getting from day to day, blaming other people for your struggles, and nothing ever changes. This is miserable. You do not want to be on this hamster wheel of hell, my friend. So if your kid calls you out, and it might be rude and it might be nice, admit where they have it. And the best way to do that, and I have done a podcast on this as well, is to heal your wounds and to swallow your pride. It's a two-step process. Because as long as we are unwilling to look at ourselves and our imperfections and our wounds, we can't grow. So when this daughter says, I don't want to talk about it to hurt her feelings and it's never gone well, why would she talk to mom about it? Or dad? So she bides her time to move out. And when her aunts and uncles are rude and they make comments about her clothes and the mom defends them rather than stands up for her child or dismisses it and says, just go to bed. They didn't mean to hurt you. You'll feel better tomorrow. It's not a big deal. Dismissing your child essentially tells them that their feelings are invalid, that they are unimportant, and that you don't choose them. You do not have their back. And that is a very powerful and remembered message. And they may never fully trust you if you repeatedly do this and never own it. One of the most consistent messages that daughter said was, so many times I wish that I could go talk to her, but I can't, because every time I do, she does the same things. She defends, dismisses, and retaliates and gets mad. If you see yourself in this, again, I love you, and it is okay to be human. Now is your chance to pause, to reflect, to be honest with yourself, to be willing to acknowledge what is already there, which is, you got some things wrong. Welcome to being human. As long as your child is still willing to let you in their life, they still want you in their life. And it is not too late to say, hey, you know when you said that about me and I got all defensive, you were right and I was wrong. And if you can't say it to their face, write it in a letter and practice until you can say it to their face. Hi there. I just want to pause and let you know, if you are struggling to make sense of your teens' behaviors, emotions are running wild, and you're looking to turn things around to have the family you dreamed of while rocking them to sleep, I would love to talk to you. I want to give you a special, powerful gift. 30 minutes with me, my friend. You'll walk away with more confidence, clarity, and understanding of what the issue is and your next best step in resolving any situation you bring to me. It's completely free. I love families and want to help yours be wildly happy and successful. Book this call by visiting my website, heatherfraser.com. Remember, Fraser is spelled with a Z-I in the middle. And don't worry, the link is also in the show notes. I look forward to meeting and helping you. I asked daughter. I asked her if there was anything that she could ask her parent or say to her parent that she would never dare say to their face, but that she would like to be asked. So as you listen to this, I want you, if any of this is resonating, at least a little bit, act as though your teenager is saying this to you. Why do you think this way and are so bothered by me? Does that not break your heart that this child truly believes that her parent is bothered by her? What can be said to make you like me more? And I love daughter because she is unwilling to abandon who she chooses to be in the world. Her hobbies, interests, all of those things, how she chooses to present herself. But she still wants her parent to like her. What can be said to make you like me more? And then she said she thinks I'm a brat, and her siblings do too, because she's always talking trash about me to them. And reading between the lines of how her mother behaves with her is that she needs to stop being who she is and reading between the lines of all the signals her mom is sending her. The message that she gets is that she will never satisfy her mother. And her mother has even said to her that she needs to stop being so selfish. She needs to stop being so lazy. She needs to start thinking ahead of time and quit being so stupid. And she'll repeat what the daughter has said in a bratty or stupid voice. I just want a Starbucks. I didn't think of that. Do not ever, I beg of you, use unkind voices for anyone in your life. Do not repeat what your child has said to you or your spouse or your parents with shameful, rude, disrespectful tone. That never creates anything good. So while this mother might say, why are you being so bratty about that? Why are you such a slob? This daughter is dying inside. And what she told me, this is probably one of the most pointed phrases, is I am not Build-A-Bear. If you can't accept your kids how they are, then don't have them. And I know that I myself am guilty of this. And if you can't see where you have done this, look harder because it's there. I have children who present physically in the world different than I ever imagined that they would. And it is my work to love them as I know that God loves them. But because of my pride, because of my judgments, it is harder. And it is my work, not theirs, to conform. It is my work to conform to God's standards and to love them unconditionally, because I know that God loves them unconditionally. And again, when I say that, I do not mean that you don't have consequences and rules and boundaries and you teach them how to be quality people. But guess what? Quality people can have gauges and tattoos and wear all black. Just like unquality people can be the church-going looking types. Appearance is not always what it seems. And if we get so hung up on appearance or on habits, right? Why don't you ever go work out? That does not make people good or bad. It is our preference for how we think they should be, and we really, really need to check that. And of course, parents justify this by saying, I'm just trying to help you. But the more the parent pushes how they want them to be as a form of help, I promise, the more your teen does not want your help or to do what you want. Have you ever met a teenager? Don't try to help them. If they like their appearance, let them have their appearance, especially as they get older. When they're 16, 17, 18, 19, in their 20s, there's not a whole lot you can do. And so you have to really choose what kind of relationship you want with them. Daughter said, if I'm always the one giving and trying to please, and it still doesn't work. So parent is unyielding, daughter is trying to do whatever to please, to earn love, and it doesn't work. Why bother? And I have seen this countless times. And I see it with my clients, trying to please a spouse, trying to please a teen, trying to please their parents still in their 40s. And yeah, why bother? Why would you go through the effort when it is a void that can never be filled? Daughter said she doesn't understand how I think. Why would I listen to what she has to say about my life when she doesn't even seek to understand me or know me? She said, I know we think differently, but she doesn't see my perspective. She thinks I'm selfish. I'm the bad guy. She doesn't know who I am. So then I'm not myself because she wouldn't like me, because what I do show her, she rejects. So she doesn't know me. I wish she would try to understand me, say sorry, be on my team, have my back, not always make me the bad guy. So she says that she has to hide how bad she hurts her crying, her reactions, her upset. She said, I'm sick of feeling like it's me who has to fix things. And this has been an ongoing problem. She said, how could I have done this at 10? How could I have done this at 12? How could I have fixed this now that I'm 16? How could I fix this now that I'm 18? Everything that I've tried doesn't work. Ultimately, what I summed up with all of these kids is that they feel emotionally abandoned. So what we want to do, you and I, is to be really honest with ourselves. And maybe what I've shared applies 1%. And we can seek to shift that by 0.5%. Maybe it's a good 10%. And maybe it is the bulk of butting heads. And these are consistent patterns that have played out for us with our kids. And we reap what we sow. And when parents reap this, they get very surface level, distant relationships with their kids, if anything at all. And I understand how scary it feels to be vulnerable. But my dear, your children and your spouse already see it. You are the only one that needs to acknowledge that you're imperfect and that those mistakes are there. Everybody can see them. Open your eyes, be brave. It is such an act of courage to say, this is what I need to work on, and this is how I got it right, and this is how I got it wrong. And I am still worthy of love. Because what we are typically doing to our kids in this situation is teaching them that they have to earn love through hygiene, through modesty, through pulling your weight of doing your chores and being thorough and getting good grades and all of the perfectionistic things that in and of themselves are good. Of course, we want these qualities, but when we twist them and make them the price for love, for compliments, for tenderness and compassion, then our kids want nothing to do with them. And they will push these inherently good values aside, because what they want to know is, will you love them anyway? And when they get the answer that you don't love them unless you play their game, they will push you away. And that is a really painful position to be in. If you need help sorting this out, I promise, no judgment, no shame. I understand how it feels to stand emotionally naked in front of another person, and it's terrifying. But again, the people in your life that you're doing this to, they are well aware. And revealing it to yourself is actually the best way to heal and to gain that comfort and completion of loving yourself. Come to me. We can work it out. Go to a therapist, somebody, go to your child who you've been doing this to. Nobody needs to feel like this sweet daughter. And when she brings valid concerns, we need to be humble enough to hear them. And again, I'm not talking about kids calling you mean because you make them plug their phone in at night. It's okay for your kid to not be happy about that and to push against you. But when they say, you're gossiping about me, or you keep doing this and it really hurts, that is different than them being upset that you're being a good parent. And if you dig down deep, we all know the difference. I hope that this has been a helpful episode. As always, please pass along and share with friends and family that you think would also appreciate it. And we will talk to you next week.
Heather is the one, an expert in the field. She knows her parenting stuff, including how confusing it can be. You've tried it all, and it's a lost cause. Crying in the closet 'cause you failed at being a mom. But think again, there's peace around the corner and there's hope in your hands. Your kid just wants your love and you want it